They say blood is thicker than water. They never warned me it could burn like liquid fire. My name is Lisa Sterling, and 3 days ago I was nobody. A failed journalist with student loans, a dying career, and absolutely zero idea that my touch could bring the most powerful vampire alive to his knees. 3 days ago, I thought monsters were just stories. 3 days ago, I believed I was completely, utterly human. I was wrong about everything. Before we dive in, if this is your first time listening to one of our audiobooks, hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us bring you more powerful stories like this one. Stick around until the very end of the video, and if this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments and share this audiobook to a friend. Now let's begin. Chapter 1, The Secret After Midnight. The storm outside sounds like war. Rain hammers against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Vare Industries, each droplet a bullet against glass. Lightning splits the sky in jagged scars, illuminating the empty corridors of the 42nd floor. I should have left hours ago. Everyone else did. Even the security guards seemed to have vanished into the night, leaving me alone with my deadline and the ghost of my career hanging by a thread. My fingers ache from typing. The investigation piece on corrupt city contracts was supposed to be finished yesterday, but every lead I follow opens 3 more doors. My editor's voice echoes in my head. Sterling, if you don't deliver something worth printing, you're out. 6 months as a rookie journalist, and I'm already one mistake away from serving coffee at a diner. The executive wing calls to me like a siren song. 20 floors above, where the real decisions get made. Where Raphael Vare sits in his glass throne, running an empire I barely understand. I've seen him exactly twice, once during my interview, once passing in the elevator. Both times my breath caught. Dark hair, impossibly pale skin, eyes the color of winter storms. The kind of man who makes you forget your own name. Thunder crashes overhead, shaking the building. The power flickers. In the momentary darkness, I make a decision that will change everything. I take the elevator to the executive floor. The hallways up here are different. Marble instead of carpet. Paintings that probably cost more than my apartment. The air itself feels heavier, charged with something I can't name. My press badge gets me past the first security door, but the second one requires a code. I'm about to turn back when the storm cuts the power completely. Emergency lighting kicks in, bathing everything in red. In the eerie glow, I notice something impossible. A section of the wall that doesn't quite match. My fingers find the edge of a hidden panel. It slides open with a whisper. My heart hammers against my ribs as I step through. The room beyond is nothing like the rest of the building. Medieval tapestries hang from stone walls. Candles flicker in iron sconces. A massive desk dominates the center, carved from what looks like black obsidian. And behind it, standing with his back to me at a window that shows no reflection, is Raphael Vare. He raises a crystal chalice to his lips. The liquid inside catches the candlelight, deep, dark red. Too red for wine. Too thick. No. I whisper, the word torn from my throat. He turns, slowly, like he has all the time in the world. His face is exactly as I remember, beautiful in a way that hurts to look at. But his eyes, God, his eyes burn like coals in the darkness. And when he smiles, I see them. White fangs, sharp as broken glass, stained crimson. Miss Sterling. His voice is velvet over steel. Working late? The chalice slips from his fingers, shattering on the stone floor. Blood spreads like spilled paint. I run. My heels slip on the marble as I sprint for the elevator. The emergency lighting strobes, making everything feel like a nightmare. I slam my palm against the call button over and over, praying to every saint I've ever heard of. The doors slide open with agonizing slowness. I throw myself inside and punch the ground floor button until my finger goes numb. The doors begin to close. Safety. Escape. A chance to pretend this never happened. Then he's there. Not walking. Not running. simply there inside the elevator with me, as if he materialized from shadow itself. The doors seal us in together. My scream dies in my throat. He stands perfectly still, hands at his sides, head tilted like a predator studying prey. Those fangs gleam in the fluorescent light. I should be paralyzed with terror. I should be begging for my life. Instead, something impossible happens. Heat blooms between us, sudden, violent, consuming. It starts in my chest and spreads outward like wildfire, making my skin burn and my vision blur. The air crackles with electricity that has nothing to do with the storm outside. And in his eyes, I see something that terrifies me more than the fangs ever could. Recognition. He takes a step toward me, then stops. His perfect composure cracks. Pain flickers across his features, as if my very presence causes him agony. His fangs retract. His hands shake. "What are you?" he whispers. The elevator lurches as it begins its descent. 42 floors to freedom. 42 floors trapped with a monster who looks at me like I'm the dangerous one. I press myself against the cold metal wall, but I can't look away from him. Can't ignore the way my pulse races for all the wrong reasons. Can't deny that this heat between us isn't fear. It's something far more terrifying. Desire. Chapter 2, The Burning Touch. The elevator hits the ground floor with a violent shudder that mirrors the chaos in my chest. That impossible heat still crackles between us, making the small space feel like a furnace. Raphael stands frozen against the opposite wall, his storm gray eyes wide with something that looks like pain. Raw, desperate pain. His hands are pressed flat against the metal, knuckles white, as if he's fighting not to reach for me. The doors slide open with a mechanical whisper. Freedom beckons from the empty lobby beyond. I bolt. My heels echo like gunshots across the marble floor. The security desk sits abandoned, monitors flickering with static. Emergency lighting casts everything in hellish red, turning the familiar space into something from a nightmare. I can hear my own breathing, harsh and panicked, but nothing else. No footsteps behind me. No pursuit. Maybe he's letting me go. Maybe whatever happened in that elevator broke, whatever spell. Lisa. I freeze halfway to the revolving doors. He didn't shout, didn't even raise his voice. But my name on his lips stops me cold, like he's reached inside my chest and squeezed my heart still. I turn slowly. He stands 20 feet away, no longer the composed CEO I glimpsed in interviews. His expensive suit is wrinkled, his dark hair disheveled. Those storm-colored eyes burn with hunger and something else, confusion. Like I'm a puzzle he can't solve. Don't. My voice cracks. Don't come any closer. But he's already moving, each step deliberate and predatory. The overhead lights flicker as he passes beneath them, throwing his shadow in twisted shapes across the walls. "You saw what I am," he says, voice soft as silk. "You know what I could do to you. Stay back." I grab a heavy glass paperweight from the reception desk, brandishing it like a weapon. Pathetic, but it's all I have. He laughs, a sound like dark chocolate and broken promises. "You think that will stop me? I am 500 years old, little journalist. I have torn apart armies. I have." His words cut off as he takes another step. The moment his foot hits the marble in front of me, agony explodes across his perfect features. He doubles over with a gasp that sounds almost human, clutching his chest like he's been shot. "What?" He tries to straighten, tries to step forward again. The pain drops him to one knee. "What are you doing to me?" "I'm not doing anything." I'm standing here, terrified and shaking, holding a paperweight like it's Excalibur. But somehow, just being near me is hurting him. The most powerful predator I've ever encountered, brought low by my presence. "I don't know," I whisper. He raises his head, meeting my eyes. For a moment, the hunger fades, replaced by something almost vulnerable. Almost human. "Let me touch you," he says. "Absolutely not. Just once. I need to understand. You need to stay the hell away from me." But he's not listening anymore. With effort that clearly costs him, he pushes to his feet and extends one pale hand toward me. His fingers are long, elegant, ending in perfectly manicured nails that could probably slice through steel. Raphael don't. His fingertips brush my wrist. The world explodes. He screams, a sound of pure agony that shatters the lobby's silence. His hand snaps back like he's touched molten metal. Smoke actually rises from his fingertips, and I swear I smell burned flesh. He stumbles backward, cradling his hand against his chest. But it's not just pain on his face. It's wonder. Terrified, desperate wonder. Impossible, he breathes. In 5 centuries, no human has ever. My compulsion should work on anyone. Everyone. His eyes find mine again, burning with new intensity. Look at me, Lisa Sterling. Look into my eyes and forget what you've seen tonight. I feel it then, a pressure against my mind, like invisible hands trying to pry open my skull. The sensation is nauseating, invasive, wrong. But it slides right off, just like he said. Like water on glass. Forget, he commands again, voice layered with supernatural power that makes the windows rattle. Sleep. Dream of ordinary things. Nothing. His mind control might as well be whispers in the wind. For the first time since I've known of his existence, Raphael Vare looks afraid. What are you? He asks again, but this time it's barely a whisper. I don't have an answer. I barely have a voice. Instead, I do the only thing my terror-drunk brain can manage. I hurl the paperweight at his head and run for the doors. It bounces harmlessly off his shoulder, but the distraction is enough. I hit the revolving door at full speed, bursting out into the storm-lashed night. Rain hits me like icy needles, instantly soaking through my blouse. The empty street stretches before me, slick with water and reflected neon. I run left, toward the subway station 6 blocks away. My heels slip on wet pavement, but I don't slow down. Can't slow down. Behind me, I hear the building's doors whisper open, but no footsteps follow. 3 blocks. 2. The subway entrance glows like salvation ahead. I risk a glance over my shoulder. The street behind me is empty. Relief floods through me as I turn back towards safety. And there he is, standing directly in my path, completely dry despite the downpour. Water seems to bend around him, refusing to touch his perfect suit. His hands are clasped behind his back, posture casual, like he's been waiting for me my entire life. How? I gasp. I told you, he says calmly. 500 years. I spin around, looking for another route. He's there too, somehow in 2 places at once. Or maybe my mind is finally snapping under the weight of impossibility. I try to run right. He's waiting at the corner. Left. He leans against a lamppost like he has all the time in the world. Every direction I turn, every street I choose, he's already there. Not chasing me, not hunting me, hurting me. There's nowhere to go, Lisa. His voice echoes from everywhere and nowhere. We need to talk. Chapter 3, Captive Curiosity. Dawn breaks through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting everything gold. I'm not dead. That's the first coherent thought I manage after 8 hours of pure nightmare. The second thought is that I should be dead. After what I've seen, what I know about Raphael Vare, I should be drained and buried somewhere the sun will never find me. Instead, I'm lying on the softest bed I've ever felt, wearing my own clothes in what can only be described as paradise. His penthouse stretches endlessly above the city, all glass and steel and impossible luxury. Art that belongs in museums hangs casually on the walls. A grand piano sits in one corner like it's waiting for Mozart himself to return. Everything screams wealth beyond imagination, but it's the bars on the windows that remind me this is still a prison. You're awake. I bolt upright, scanning the room until I find him. He sits in a leather chair 20 feet away, perfectly still, hands folded in his lap like a patient predator. He's changed into dark jeans and a black sweater that makes his pale skin look like carved marble. Almost human. Almost. How long? My voice comes out as a croak. 6 hours. You collapsed in the subway tunnels. His storm gray eyes never leave my face. Exhaustion, I assume. Humans are remarkably fragile. The chase comes flooding back, racing through flooded tunnels, climbing fire escapes in the rain, scaling buildings like some demented parkour course while he appeared and vanished like smoke. Every time I thought I'd found an escape, there he was, waiting, watching, herding me toward some invisible destination. You could have caught me anytime, I say. Yes. But you didn't. No. He tilts his head, studying me like I'm a particularly fascinating lab specimen. I wanted to see what you were capable of. Your endurance is impressive for a mortal. I swing my legs over the side of the bed, testing my weight. Everything aches, but I can move. Let me go. I'm afraid that's not possible. I won't tell anyone. I'll quit my job, leave the city, forget any of this ever happened. You can't forget. His voice is soft, but absolute. I tried to make you forget. It should have worked. It works on everyone. He stands in one fluid motion, moving with inhuman grace. Do you have any idea how long it's been since someone surprised me, Lisa? Don't care. Let me go. 237 years, he continues, ignoring my demand. The last time was a witch in Salem. Burned her myself when she tried to bind my will. His eyes darken at the memory. But you're not a witch. I would sense the magic, smell it on your skin. You're completely, utterly human. And yet, he takes a step toward me. The familiar heat blooms between us, but this time I'm ready for it. This time I see how it affects him. The way his jaw tightens, his hands clench, his perfect composure cracks around the edges. Stay back, I warn. Or what? You'll hurt me again. Another step. I've been wondering about that. Whether it was an accident or if you can control it. I said stay back. He stops, but not because of my words. Because pain flickers across his features, subtle but unmistakable. Just being this close to me is agony for him. Yet he keeps trying to get closer, like a moth drawn to a flame that will destroy it. Fascinating, he murmurs. The closer I get, the more it burns. But I can't seem to stop myself from trying. What do you want from me? Answers. He settles back into his chair, putting distance between us. The relief on his face is almost comical. I've had 5 centuries to perfect my abilities. My compulsion works on presidents and paupers alike. My shadow binding can hold a struggling werewolf. Even my mere presence should terrify you into submission. His eyes narrow. Instead, you ran from me for 8 hours through a storm, climbed a 40-story building in heels, and somehow made me feel like I was chasing the sun itself. Maybe you're losing your touch. He laughs, sharp and bitter. Perhaps. Shall we test that theory? Before I can react, the shadows in the room surge toward me like living things. Dark tendrils wrap around my wrists and ankles, lifting me off the bed and holding me suspended in midair. They feel solid as steel cables, cold as winter nights. Shadow binding, he explains casually. I can hold a full-grown vampire with this technique. You should be completely helpless. I struggle against the shadows, but they don't budge. Okay, point made. Let me down. Look at me, Lisa Sterling. Our eyes meet, and I feel that familiar pressure against my mind, stronger this time, more focused. His pupils dilate until his eyes are black voids, swirling with supernatural power that makes reality bend around the edges. Sleep, he commands. Dream of nothing. Wake only when I allow it. The compulsion hits me like a tidal wave. I can actually feel it crashing against my consciousness, trying to drag me under. But it doesn't stick. It never sticks. The power slides off my mind like oil off water, leaving me wide awake and furious. Let me down. I snap. He stares at me in stunned silence. Impossible. You keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. The shadow bindings dissolve instantly, dropping me back onto the bed. He's on his feet again, pacing now like a caged animal. 500 years, he mutters. 500 years of perfect control. And you just... I'm not doing anything special, I insist. I'm nobody. a failed journalist with student loans, and a studio apartment that smells like takeout. Nobody is immune to vampire compulsion. Nobody burns us with a touch. Nobody. The world tilts sideways. It happens without warning. One moment I'm sitting on his obscenely expensive bed. The next I'm somewhere else entirely. Somewhere that exists in flashes of impossible memory. A battlefield stretches endlessly under blood-red skies. Warriors in ancient armor clash with creatures of nightmare. Vampires and werewolves and things that have no names. In the center of it all stands a woman who looks exactly like me, but her eyes burn with golden fire and sunlight bleeds from her skin. The solar heir. Voices whisper from everywhere and nowhere. The last of the royal bloodline. The one who can end the eternal night. The woman raises her hands, and light explodes outward like a supernova. I crash back to reality, gasping. Raphael is kneeling beside the bed, his face inches from mine, eyes wide with something that might be recognition. What did you see? He demands. I don't know. A war. Ancient warriors. Someone who looked like me, but I touch my face, expecting to feel golden fire, but there's only skin. Normal human skin. It felt real. Solar air, he breathes. It can't be. They're all dead. I made sure they were all dead. The words hit me like ice water. You what? He pulls back, horror dawning on his perfect features. No, you can't be. I hunted them to extinction centuries ago. The last of the solar bloodline died in Constantinople in 1453. I watched her burn. What are you talking about? The royal line that could command sunlight itself. Warriors who could walk in daylight and burn vampires with their touch. They were our greatest enemies, He stops, staring at me like I'm a ghost. But if you're one of them, if somehow the bloodline survived. I'm not royalty, I say desperately. I'm from Ohio. My parents run a hardware store. There's nothing special about me. Your parents, he says slowly. What do you know about your birth parents? The question hits like a physical blow. I'm adopted, but that doesn't mean anything. Lots of people are adopted. When was I adopted? I don't see how that's. When? His voice carries compulsion, so strong it makes my teeth ache. 24 years ago, I whisper, the words torn from my throat against my will. I was found on the doorstep of a church in Columbus. No note, no explanation. Just a baby in a basket with a strange birthmark on my shoulder. Show me. Absolutely not. Show me the birthmark, Lisa. Go to hell. But even as I refuse, I can feel his gaze burning into me. And somewhere deep in my mind, golden fire begins to stir, bringing with it memories that aren't mine and a truth that will shatter everything I thought I knew about myself. The solar heir isn't just a legend. She's me. Chapter 4, Blood Wars and Betrayals. The penthouse explodes into chaos at exactly midnight. Glass rains down like deadly snow as dark shapes crash through the floor-to-ceiling windows. I throw myself behind the marble kitchen island as inhuman shrieks fill the air, followed by the sound of Raphael's rage, a roar that shakes the building's foundation. You dare enter my domain uninvited? His voice carries power that makes my bones vibrate. You dare threaten what is mine. She belongs to the council now, Raphael. The answering voice is silk over poison, cultured and deadly. The solar heir is too dangerous to remain in the hands of one vampire, even an alpha. I peek around the edge of my hiding spot and immediately wish I hadn't. The penthouse has become a battlefield. At least 6 vampires circle Raphael like predators, moving with inhuman grace and speed. They're beautiful in the way that deadly things are beautiful. Pale skin, perfect features, eyes that burn like coals in elegant faces. But it's their leader that makes my blood freeze. She stands in the center of the destruction, untouched by the chaos around her. Platinum blonde hair falls like spun moonlight to her waist. Her dress looks like it's woven from shadows themselves, clinging to a figure that would make supermodels weep with envy. When she smiles, her fangs gleam like pearls. Hello, darling, she purrs, looking straight at me. I'm Serafina Blackthorn, mistress of the Eastern Territories, and you're coming with me. Like hell she is. Raphael moves faster than my eyes can follow, appearing between Serafina and my hiding spot. His hands have grown into claws, and his fangs are fully extended. Gone is any pretense of humanity. This is the apex predator I glimpsed in his office, ancient, powerful, deadly. Leave. Now. While I'm still feeling merciful. Serafina laughs, a sound like breaking crystal. Merciful? You. How the mighty have fallen. Tell me, old friend, have you fed from her yet? Tasted that royal blood? Or are you still pretending she means nothing to you? What I do with my prisoner is none of your concern. Oh, but it is. She gestures to her companions, who spread out in a perfect circle. The moment word reached the council that you'd captured a solar heir, it became everyone's concern. Do you have any idea what her blood could do? What power it could grant? I know what it did to the last ones, Raphael snarls. I was there when they burned. I was there when their light died. Yes, you were quite thorough in your genocide. Her voice drips with mock admiration. But you missed one, didn't you? And now she's here in your home making you weak. I can smell it on you, Raphael, the scent of burning flesh. She's hurting you just by existing. I watch the truth of her words play across his face. He is weaker. The confident predator from earlier struggles to maintain his composure. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the cool night air streaming through the broken windows. She's not going anywhere, he says. We'll see. The attack comes from all sides at once. Vampires move like liquid shadow, faster than should be possible. I lose track of who's fighting whom as bodies blur together in a dance of violence and grace. Raphael is magnificent and terrible, his claws tearing through his enemies like they're made of paper. But there are too many of them, and I can see he's struggling. Every time he gets close to me, that invisible fire flares between us, weakening him at the worst possible moment. A vampire with silver hair manages to rake claws across his back while he's doubled over in pain. Another draws blood from his arm. Stop! I scream, but my voice is lost in the chaos. Serafina appears beside the kitchen island like smoke given form. Her hand closes around my wrist with crushing force, lifting me effortlessly off the ground. There's the prize, she purrs. Such a pretty little solar heir. The council will be so pleased. Let her go. Raphael's voice cracks like a whip across the room. Why? So you can keep her locked away like a pet? So you can resist the temptation of that royal blood until it drives you mad. Serafina's grip tightens, and I feel bones creak. She's wasted on you, darling. I, however, know exactly how to use her. The pain in my wrist flares white hot, and suddenly I'm not in the penthouse anymore. I'm back in that ancient battlefield, watching the woman who looks like me raise burning hands to the sky. The golden fire that bleeds from her skin isn't just light. It's pure solar energy, the essence of the sun itself distilled into weapon form. The solar air commands the light. Voices whisper from the vision. Her heartbeat is the rhythm of dawn. Her blood is liquid sunlight. And when she calls the fire, I crash back to reality as Serafina's fangs descend toward my throat. No, Raphael tears through two vampires to reach us, but he won't make it in time. Terror floods my system, sending my heart into overdrive. It pounds against my ribs like a caged bird, faster and faster until I swear it might explode. And with each beat, something stirs inside me, something bright and burning and utterly alien. The golden fire erupts from my skin without warning. Light blazes outward like a supernova, turning night into day. Every vampire in the room screams in perfect unison as the radiance hits them. Serafina releases me instantly, staggering backward with her hands pressed to her face. Steam rises from her perfect skin. The others fare even worse. Some actually burst into flame before the light fades. But Raphael stands untouched in the center of the devastation, staring at me with wonder and something that might be hope. The light dies as quickly as it came, leaving us in darkness broken only by the city's glow through shattered windows. Every vampire except Raphael is gone, fled into the night or reduced to ash. The penthouse looks like a war zone, but we're alone. How? I whisper, staring at my hands. They look normal again. No trace of that impossible fire. How did I do that? Your heartbeat, he says softly. When you're afraid, when your pulse races, it triggers the solar fire. That's how your ancestors fought us. That's how they nearly won. But you weren't hurt. Why weren't you hurt? He takes a step toward me, then stops as that familiar pain flickers across his features. But this time, there's something else in his expression. Something that looks almost like reverence. I don't know, he admits, but I intend to find out. In the distance, church bells begin to toll. Not the gentle chimes of morning prayer, but the deep, resonant tones of warning. Ancient bells that haven't rung in centuries, waking to herald the return of something the world thought was lost forever. The solar air has awakened, and somewhere in the darkness, older powers than vampires begin to stir. Chapter 5, The Unbroken Bond. The mirror doesn't lie, but I wish it would. Standing in Raphael's destroyed bathroom, staring at my reflection in the cracked glass, I can see it now. The mark I've carried my entire life without understanding what it meant. On my left shoulder blade, what I always thought was just an unusual birthmark glows with faint golden light. It's beautiful and terrifying, shaped like a sun with rays that seem to pulse in rhythm with my heartbeat. The solar mark, the symbol of a bloodline I never knew I belonged to. It's been there all along, Raphael says from the doorway. He's changed into a fresh shirt, but I can still see the healing scratches from tonight's battle. Vampire regeneration is remarkable, but even he needs time to recover. Hidden, dormant, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Why now? I turn to face him, pulling my blouse back into place. I'm 24 years old. Why didn't it activate before? Because you never felt the pull of vampire blood before. His storm gray eyes meet mine in the mirror's reflection. The mark responds to supernatural proximity. The closer you get to our kind, the stronger it becomes. And he pauses, something almost vulnerable flickering across his perfect features. I am the oldest vampire you've ever encountered. The most powerful. Your mark recognizes the threat, or the opportunity. The words slip out before I can stop them, and I see him go very still behind me. What did you say? I turn fully to face him, that strange new confidence flowing through me like liquid fire. The visions showed me things. The solar heirs weren't just vampire hunters, were they? They were something else entirely. Lisa. Tell me the truth, Raphael. All of it. He's quiet for so long I think he might refuse. Then, with the weight of centuries in his voice, he begins to speak. The original solar heirs were created to end the vampire curse, he admits. Not through destruction, but through transformation. Their blood, their light. It was meant to free us from eternal hunger, to give us back our souls. His hands clench into fists. The council feared losing their power, their immortality. So they convinced vampires like me that the heirs were a threat to be eliminated. And you believed them. I was younger then, angrier. I had been turned against my will, forced into darkness, and the idea of creatures who could walk in sunlight while I burned. He shakes his head. Yes, I believed them. And I hunted your people to extinction. The truth settles between us like a physical weight. He destroyed my ancestors, ended my bloodline, left me alone in the world without even knowing it. I should hate him, should let the solar fire burn through me and reduce him to ash. Instead, I step closer. Why didn't the light hurt you tonight? I ask. When it destroyed the others, you stood there like it was nothing. I don't know. His voice drops to barely a whisper. But I have a theory. Tell me. The mark chooses Lisa. It always has. Not every vampire was meant to be freed. Some were too far gone, too consumed by darkness. But others, He reaches out, stopping just short of touching my face. Others might still have enough humanity left to save. I catch his hand in mine before he can pull away. The moment our skin touches, the world transforms. Instead of the searing pain from before, warmth spreads between us, gentle, encompassing, right in ways I can't begin to explain. The solar mark on my shoulder blazes brighter, but it's not burning him. It's healing him. His pale skin takes on a subtle glow, and for the first time since I've known him, his reflection appears in the cracked mirror behind me. Impossible, he breathes, staring at our joined reflection. You keep saying that word. I tighten my grip on his hand, afraid to let go. Maybe it's time to accept that impossible things can be true. The connection between us pulses and grows stronger. I can feel his presence in my mind, not invasive like his compulsion attempts, but welcome like coming home. And through that bond, I sense something I never expected. Hope. For the first time in 5 centuries, Raphael Vare has hope. The bond, he says wonderingly. It's not just the mark. We're connected now, aren't we? Truly connected. I nod, not trusting my voice. Because it's more than connection, it's completion. Like I've been walking through life with half my soul missing, and now I've found the other piece. Your strength feeds my light, I whisper, remembering fragments from the visions. My warmth tames your darkness, the unbroken bond. His thumb traces across my knuckles, reverent. The legend spoke of it, but I thought it was myth. One solar heir, one vampire, bound together by choice rather than fate. 2 halves of a whole. What does it mean? It means he lifts our joined hands, staring at the way our skin glows where it touches. It means we're stronger together than apart. It means the hunger that's plagued me for centuries is quiet when you're near. It means the first rays of dawn pierce through the broken windows. Raphael goes rigid, instinct screaming at him to flee from the approaching sun. But I don't let go of his hand. Trust me, I whisper. The golden light creeps across the floor toward us, relentless as time itself. Any other vampire would be screaming, burning, dying. But Raphael stands beside me, our fingers interlaced, watching the sunrise with wonder instead of fear. The light reaches our feet. Nothing happens. It climbs higher, washing over our legs, our bodies, our faces. And still, Raphael remains solid and whole beside me. The solar mark pulses brighter, wrapping us both in gentle radiance that makes the dawn itself seem pale by comparison. I'm not burning, he says, voice filled with childlike amazement. No, I agree. You're not. We walk together toward the shattered windows, stepping carefully over broken glass. The city spreads out below us, bathed in morning light that no longer holds any threat for him. Cars begin their daily rush through streets still damp from last night's storm. People emerge from buildings, starting another ordinary day, completely unaware that the world has changed. Raphael steps fully into the sunlight streaming through the windows. He doesn't burn, doesn't scream, doesn't turn to ash. Instead, he tilts his face toward the sky and smiles, really smiles, for what might be the first time in centuries. 500 years, he murmurs. 500 years of darkness. I squeeze his hand tighter. Not anymore. But even as we stand there, basking in the impossible miracle of a vampire who can walk in daylight, a sound reaches us from the distance. Deep, resonant, ancient, a bell tolling with the weight of eons. Not the warning bells from last night. Something older. Something that makes the solar mark burn cold against my shoulder blade and sends primal terror racing down my spine. Raphael's smile fades. No, it can't be. What is it? The calling bell. His grip on my hand becomes almost painful. It only rings when he turns to me, eyes wide with a fear I've never seen before. Lisa, by awakening the solar mark, by forming the unbroken bond, we haven't just changed vampire kind. What do you mean? We've awakened the first ones, the beings that created vampires in the first place. His voice drops to a horrified whisper. the ones we were made to serve. The bell tolls again, closer now, and with it comes the sound of something vast and ancient stirring in the depths of the earth. Something that has slept for millennia, waiting for the return of the solar air. Something that views both vampires and humans as nothing more than toys in a game we're only beginning to understand. I look out at the sun-drenched city, at the people going about their normal lives, completely unaware that everything is about to change. The solar mark pulses against my skin, and in that pulse, I hear a promise and a warning. This is only the beginning. If you enjoyed this werewolf romance audiobook, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.